I was listening for a minute as I was coming home last evening to Mark Levin, and he was talking about, as a commentator, that if we don't stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons, it's gonna be an atomic bomb that's going to be released to the ones they hate the most. And of course, you and I know that's the Jews. We know that's Ishmael's children over there. They hate the children of promise. And he was dealing with that. It's gonna, and he quoted Albert Einstein. I didn't write the quote down, but the bottom line to the quote was that that we may fight World War III with atomic bombs, but World War IV is going to be fought with sticks and stones. And that was an allusion to what would happen if there was a nuclear fight. I would say to you that preserving our lives for the sake of it is not worthy of us. Preserving our life for the sake of the next world, that's critical. Now, God is not out of this game of life. He's in it. We are his children. The whole earth. I mean, let's face it. We are God's children. He brings us into this world. And we're also the fruit of Adam. I mean, it's just what it is. And there's no reason for me to continue to accuse Adam. It's a fact that he sinned. And as a consequence of that, his children that were born of him also were born in sin. Beyond that, they were shapen in iniquity. Instead of growing more righteous, which if he hadn't sinned, that would be the only conclusion. There wouldn't even be the option of good and evil. The option would have been if he'd have won in the garden, that would have been a victory right there. The devil would have been trampled on right there, because the earth was made from Adam all the way to the planet itself in the vision that God had for it. In the beginning, God. One person said to me recently that they were into understanding God by the pre-existence. Exactly. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So it didn't say in the beginning God created himself and then the heavens and the earth. God is pre-existent. He already was existent and decided how he was going to make man, how the earth was going to be populated, what was going to be the purpose of it, and where it was going to go to. Now, I said to you that longevity is an issue because of the fall. It's redemptive, meaning that if Adam had not sinned, everybody would be living forever without the thought of it. But because of Adam's transgression, now death lodged in, and therefore death wasn't just that you were going to physically die. Death became a lifestyle because of the influence of Satan giving a vision to the Adam family in the garden that was not affirmed or initiated by God himself. And they stood there, Adam stood there. I made the point in my new book about Kingmaker legacy, the Kingmaker power, is that Mrs. Adams should have stepped back while the conversation was going on, because God gave him the vision. She wasn't made yet. Chapter 2 of Genesis, where God places him in the garden. And it wasn't until after that, told him what to do, then that she was made from Adam. So she should have stepped back. He should have stepped up, because she was talking for the family, for the purpose of God, without having a God said. She had an Adam said, which should have been the same as a God said. It clearly should have been that. And that point is critical for understanding family. So you can't interpret it any other way but how God said it. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for it. That should have been the point of Adam in the garden. Don't let your wife speak for herself, Adam, and then represent to a fallen archangel without the favor of God, preserve the vision of God. You step up. She steps back. You step up. Adam was not deceived. Step up and face this fallen archangel, the serpent whom you named. You weren't deceived, Timothy says. So you have the ability to maintain God's vision and God's standard in the garden. You are going to be and were made to be the God of the whole planet, Adam. But you just didn't handle that situation. And you've heard me say, and of course probably scores of others, so instead of being promoted out of the garden, they were kicked out of the garden. So he didn't handle the garden in the priority of the Creator. So therefore now, he's got to now, as a fallen human being, die. Death wasn't just physical death. It was a death style. Meaning now there's a lot of things that he would think about that he wouldn't have to think about if he hadn't fallen. The issue of how long he was going to live, the issue of not knowing the God, the issue of not adhering to what the priorities of God was for the whole planet, the behavior that you would have towards your wife. I mean, when God comes down, I mean, you can look at it in Genesis. I mean, Adam right away should have stepped up. When God says, Adam, where are you? Adam should have stepped up. You see, right away. So he didn't step up and talk to the serpent and slam him. So when God comes down, he should have stepped up. When the Lord said, Adam, where are you? See? Yeah, I'm turning over there to it now because I'm talking. It says there in verse 5 or 8 of Genesis 3, and it says, when the cool evening breezes were blowing, I'm reading the Living Translation, the man and his wife heard the Lord God walking about in the garden, so they hid from the Lord God among the trees. Then the Lord called to the man. He says it specifically, where are you? Well, there you are. See? Step up, Adam. Step up and be a man about the responsibility. It says he wasn't deceived. So you knew exactly, Adam, why God was asking you that question. Where are you? See, he didn't have to have that explained to him. He replied, I heard you walking in the garden, so I hid. That proves right there. You knew you had done wrong. I hid. What are you doing hiding? See? I was afraid because I was naked. I mean, wow, there are worlds in that.